One thing that ended up being hard for people to understand that I didn't ever expect to be hard was what exactly the Book of Mormon is. A lot of the times we would teach the first lesson, give them a Book of Mormon, and then like the next time we saw them, we'd ask them, have you read it? Or tell us about like what you understand this is. And they would think that the Book of Mormon was like a different translation of the Bible. They would ask us, but where does this fit in with my Bible? Like, oh, they've changed the names, so it's not Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, but it's Nephi and Moroni. And it's like, no, I think we need to go back and re-explain some things. Because there are actually a lot of translations of the Bible. And in Alabama, there were people who, they had their different translations, and they always just thought that the Book of Mormon was a translation of the Bible that Joseph Smith had done, or written or something. And so for them to figure out that the Book of Mormon is completely separate from the Bible and the authors and where it's written actually took a little while for them to get. So you need to like really make sure they understand that, and that you don't just go through it because you understand, but you need to make sure that they understand what it is you're talking about, because then they are more likely to read it and they'll have a better idea of what it is we believe. Let's see, another important thing to explain would probably be prophets, because I'd say in the South, the idea of a prophet is more accepted than in other places, but to the point where it's like commonplace, for us to say Joseph Smith was a prophet doesn't mean so much to them, because they're like, oh yeah, my preacher's a prophet. It's like not exactly what the point we're trying to make. So really clarifying that God has called the specific person and given them that priesthood authority, I think is probably what it comes down to, the priesthood, helping them to understand what that is and that it was lost from the earth during a time of apostasy. And the reason Joseph Smith is someone that we talk about so much and that we're teaching them about is because he's the one that priesthood authority was restored through, and that it doesn't exist outside this church. Because there are a lot of really fantastic Christian people that I met that lived fantastic lives. And I remember, like in the first 6 months or so of my mission, thinking, now what exactly is it we're offering to these people who already love God, love their families, and are living the way they should? Why is it we're trying to teach them about the church? And really what it comes down to is priesthood authority that existed, and the importance of having that for things like baptisms and other ordinances, and realizing that's what we had to offer people who seemed like they already had it all together. So yeah, making sure you explain about prophets and the priesthood was really important as well. Especially in Alabama, the people really understand who Jesus Christ is, and they really do know what it means to love their neighbor. So a lot of things with the gospel, they already really understood. We would teach about the plan of salvation, and it would come very naturally to a lot of people. They're like, oh yeah, that's what I believe. So they already have such a great foundation to build on. And it makes it really easy to teach. They don't necessarily always get baptized or always read the Book of Mormon and get that answer from God, but they're very receptive to Christ's teachings. And so I feel like they're very receptive to the gospel message that we share.